Hello everyone. Today is March 3rd, 2022. Um, let's go over my trade for the day. This is the trade block 3. So as usual, in the morning, before starting the day, I always check Forex Factory for its calendar, which lists out, impact activity. So as you can see, right in the morning, we saw there is a test. Fed Chairman Powell was testifying at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. So I know the market starts at 7:30 Mountain Time. So if he is testifying at 8 o'clock, that means until about 8:30, I would not be able to take any trades. I don't generally trade when there is an important activity like this. So these are all Canada related, so that is not important for the US markets at least. But for US market, this is a pretty important event. So volatility will be high usually. So I generally tend to stay away from taking any trades. So what that did today was made me miss two or three pretty good trades. But I'm fine with it. As long as I'm sticking to the rules, I'm fine with missing out on those trades. So let's see the trades that I possibly missed today. The reason I say missed is if it was not a Powell, being live on TV, I would have taken these trades. It might have been a loss, it might have been a winner, uh, but those are the setups, and I would have taken the setups. So let's look at the market. So we start at 7:30. So pretty from the start of it, we had a good push just before the market opened. We were, slowly grinding, and then we had a good push. Uh, and the moment the market opened, it started dropping, and it held for a while here. As you can see, it went up and then dropped back. And I don't trade first 30 minutes. So at around 8 o'clock, exactly around 8 o'clock, when I'm allowed to trade as per my rules, you know I could have taken a short portion here. As you can see in the cumulative delta, it was, there was a good flush, and then it is rising up to 80 MA. That means I would have taken a short position in this place, and then it would have made easy 50 points for me. And if I had taken more than one contract, then 50 points on first contract and 75 points on the second contract. But Powell was on, so I could not trade. The next setup was right here again, push to 80 MA, and then flush again. Whenever there is a pretty good flush like this, I'll generally take my trade at 80 MA, and then if it goes to 21, I'll average it out. Because most of the times, as you can see, when there's a pretty good flush, 80 MA holds up well, and then it flushes again. Since this flush also is pretty good, so you can see almost from 268 all the way to 130, so about 130 points, 130, 140 points, it flushed. So this is again a good position to take a shot again at 80 MA position, 80 MA whenever it goes up. So this was another trade. The problem was Powell was speaking all through this flush, and then after he was done, I thought he was done about here. I thought he had done it as 9 o'clock and I can start trading. But then I went and looked at the live stream. He was still talking. So what happened was, since there was a enough flush and push to 80 MA, I had taken a trade here. You can see my first trade of the trade here. I had taken a short position, but then quickly I wanted to check if he is actually done. When I checked, he was still on. So I did not want to risk, going against my rules and also losing, making a losing trade because of the volatility. I closed it out. This would have been a break-even trade because I don't think it went like 50 points from here. about from 80 to 34, so it might have still been a break-even trade. So next one, I waited since Powell was done by then, and this gradually moved from 8 EMA over to 21 EMA. I took a short position here. As you can see, it was just pushing after the 21 EMA, this one. So after this, it was still pushing higher, so I took a trade here, and it was showing signs of flushing down, but then it hit my 25 points direction, and then once I hit 25 points after my short begins, my break even set automatically. So it hit back the break even, and I let the break even close my position. But then the good thing was I was waiting for the next setup. Next setup was 0 ATR. As you can see, I pretty much took that next trade on the same 5-minute candle. As you can see here in this one, it goes back and touches the 0 ATR. 0 ATR on a down day is pretty good indicator of another flush coming. Most of the days, once it hits 0 ATR, it grinds down to another -2 ATR again. As you can see, it happened today as well. I generally trade only for 50 points, so I took the trade when it hit the 0 ATR, as you can see here, and then I think in about 15 minutes it hit my target. I was happy with it. It flushed all the way to my target and then pumped it all the way up. If it had not hit the target, it would have just been a break even, and I'm totally fine with that. And I was not available during this phase. There was some news, I think, that happened. Ideally, I would have not traded here anyway, because as you can see in CDV, it was grinding higher and then it was coming down, and there was a crossover of 8 and 21. This means I will not take a short position anymore. But then, as you can see, if you move further away, after it went up, it could not go past the 200 EMA, and then it was consistently pushing at 200 EMA and failing. So as you can see, the EMA crossover is happening here. So I don't generally trade when this happens. So I took a trade when it went down and then tried to come back. So as you can see here, I did not take any trade all through this period, and then I waited, and then the crossover happened, and there was a clearer flush. So this flush made the crossover clean, and then I was just waiting for next setup. The next setup started presenting at 8 EMA. I know this was not a bigger flush, and I could wait for 21 EMA. That would have been ideal, but today I just went with 8 EMA, and then when it started to push through later on, I averaged it out before it hit 21 EMA, and then there was a good flush that was happening, but then market had other news or other something else that happened, or some buyers came in and it hit my break evens. On hindsight, if I look at this chart, I could have waited for, since this was not a good flush, I could have waited for 21 EMA to hit and then take the trade. If I had done that, this would have been a good trade, since it went higher and hit 21 EMA, and I could have entered at this candle, and then you can see it flushed all through. Towards, like I said, towards the end of the day, if I am green, I tend to stay away from taking new trades. And this spike action, like this one and this one and this one, made me think that maybe today, because the spike action, I say spike action because it is doing more than 1 ATR in 5 minutes chart. You can see here it went 1, 2, 3, almost 4 ATRs in 5 minutes. And you can see here it is doing almost 1.5 ATR in 5 minutes, another 2 ATR move in 5 minutes. So when these things happen, Generally, that means market is moving, based on some news. They don't generally move like this unless it's a clear breakout. It doesn't move from, one standard deviation to almost to the, other two standard. Almost this is like almost a four standard deviation move. That doesn't happen without a news. So I tend to stay away. So once this break even hit, I stopped trading for the rest of the day. I did not take any more trades, even though there were setups. So you can see further down, if you could see, the first setup obviously was this that I missed because I went a bit too early. But after that, there's a good flush, and then consolidation to ATME, and then flush. This was a ideal place to take trade, and then again ATME, ATME, flush. So this would have been another two trades, but then this is into the power hour. It is generally safer to stay away from power hour if since when my setups are just 50 points base setups. Sometimes power hour brings complete reversals or complete smackdown based on how the market makers want to move the market to the close. So those were the trades that I took. I had one winner and about 1, 2, 3, 4 break evens, which break evens usually is covers my commission charges, so I'm totally fine with those trades. Those were, if they were winners, I would have made more money. But then, a green is a green, and a good trade with taking good setup based trades is always a better day than those days where you end up taking bad or poor calls or trade at a bad time. So I'm happy with overall market today. My trading today. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Thank you for listening. Please provide your feedback on how I can do better. And if you have any questions about my setups and trades, uh, you can leave that in comments below and give a like if you like the video. And over time, I'll try to make a video about my setups and how I trade futures. And over time, I also will talk about various other setups that I trade, like swing trades and option trades. But as of now, I'm going to concentrate the daily trade work on my futures trading for the day. Thank you. Have a good day.